Hello, everyone, and welcome to the course of world history. I'm Mr. Samuelson, and today we are looking at the legacy of the Mongols and the Mongol Empire. Let's take a look at our essential question. What were the lasting impacts of the Mongol empires? Well, let's take another look at the rise and just kind of review this stuff. In the 1200s, the Mongols possessed this small, poor stretch of land in northern Asia. They were less than insignificant. But the Mongolia rose from this insignificance to be this global empire because of this guy right here, Genghis Khan, who took that title, universal leader, after being born Temujin. By 1240, they were the most powerful empire on the planet, like without any doubt. Now, the expanse of this empire, at its peak, 1279, the Mongol Empire controlled land from southeast China to northeast Europe. It went all the way from, the island of Taiwan, all the way across into the Black Sea up to the Danube River. This was a massive empire, the largest land empire in history. And from 1206 to 1279, these Mongol armies, they faced no serious challenge from any foreign opponents. They met their enemies and they just steamrolled their enemies. Everywhere the Mongols went, they dominated. Now, where did they go? They went places where there was grass to feed their horses. But without their cavalry, without their horses, the Mongols were weakened. So once we get into the dense forests of Central Europe, the Mongols struggled. When we get into the deserts of the Arabian Peninsula, the Mongols struggle. When you get into the thicker jungles of Southern Asia or the Himalayas, the Mongols struggle. But in the wide open grasslands of Central, Eastern, and Western Asia, the Mongols were undefeatable. Now, the Mongols issued a simple offer to each nation that they encountered. The options were surrender to us, become a part of our empire, pay tribute to us, form of taxation, you got to pay us for this peace, and join our armies, become a part of the Mongol Horde. If you do this, we will treat you well. You'll enjoy all the benefits of our empire. If you say no, we're going to destroy you, completely destroy you. Now, at first, a lot of people didn't see the Mongols as a threat. They didn't think the Mongols were something to be feared. And so they resisted, and the Mongols held to their word. They destroyed those who stood against them. In China alone, when the Mongols faced this resistance, they killed an estimated 45 to 60 million people. 45 to 60 million people in China. And they destroyed 92 cities in their conquest of China. The total worldwide death toll during this period of Mongol expansion is estimated to be about 80 million people. That's far more than died in World War II due to the Mongol horde and their expansion. Now, believe it or not, there were some positives that did come out of this. The devastation was horrible, but the Mongol Empire did some good things. Thanks to the Mongols, we now had consistent contact between the East and the West. This unified Mongol Empire made trade and travel very easy between China and the Islamic world in particular, and from there you could jump into Europe. It was the first major empire with total religious freedom. The Mongols did not care what your religion was. You could practice freely whatever that religion was. They encouraged, in fact, they set in place systems for the spread of new ideas and new knowledge. They wanted to take the best ideas from the Islamic world and from Europe and mix them with the best ideas from China to come up with even better ideas. The Mongols were all about embracing what makes other cultures successful. Other lasting impacts is as the Mongols decline, we finally see a more permanent unification of China and of Russia into compact states. So the decay and decline of the Mongols. The Mongol Empire was never threatened by outside forces. Nobody threatened to defeat them except for themselves. It was internal fracturing that created the decline of the Mongol Empire. The grandchildren of Genghis Khan, when they took over the empire, they divided it up into 4 different places where each would rule their own Mongol Empire. Later Khans then further divided these lands, which shattered the Mongol unity, which had made them so powerful. And now these Mongol groups are not just worried about, fighting others and expanding. They start to turn on themselves, and they start to have battles and wars between themselves. The Golden Horde is one of those, and one that we're going to talk about today as an example of this. The Golden Horde comes from descendants of Joch. Joch was one of Genghis Khan's sons. And this Khanate is sometimes referred to as the Golden Horde. If we go back a slide, we can see that it's the one that kind of is Russia and into Eastern Europe today. Now, at its peak, the Golden Horde had conquered nearly of all of Russia and extended into Central Europe. And it defeated nearly every single European army that was sent against it for 100 years. It couldn't be defeated. It just smashed and smashed and smashed all these Russian armies, all these, Polish armies that went up against them. Now, several factors do eventually lead to the decline of the Golden Horde. One is the Black Death, the bubonic plague, which strikes the Golden Horde in 1340s and kills a lot of them. And then in the 1350s, right after that, there's a civil war that breaks up the Khanate into 4 other pieces. So the Golden Horde is no longer one unified piece. It's now 4 pieces. And again, we're looking at now this 1/4 of the empire being broken into 4 quarters itself. So this internal weakness of these 4 separate Khanates then lead to further rebellions of the non-Mongol peoples, the people who had been subject, the Russians in particular, who had been oppressed by the Mongols, now see their opportunity to rise up and rebel. So the Golden Horde will come to an end. Frequent rebellions caused this frequent change of leadership in the Golden Horde. And by the mid-1400s, the Golden Horde is now in 6 different pieces, and each one is slowly declining. But they still hang on. Some of them do. The last Mongol Khanate, the Crimean Khanate, continues to exist until 1783. For perspective here, the United States of America tracks its birth to 1776 and the Declaration of Independence. That means there was still a Mongol Khanate in existence in Europe when the United States was born. So that's how long the Mongol empires continued. But this one does disappear in 1783. That's all we have for today. I hope you learned a little bit about the rise of the Mongols, and I will see you next time. Farewell.